What's up, sales legend? Just wanted to hop in really quick and give you all just talk to you a little bit about what is the 10 biggest fears around salespeople. Well, most of us in here are salespeople or aspire to be salespeople or are already killing it at sales. So I think it's different, a little bit different for everybody, but there's always this underlying fear. Well, I'll say this. There's underlying fear with all salespeople to a degree, right? There could be a situation where it's a fear of success. It could be a situation where it's fear of failure. It could be a situation where it's fear of the unknown, right? It could be a situation where there's fear of what the person's going to say, right? Are they going to say no? Am I going to feel rejected? Am I going to feel like I can't overcome objections? Are they going to ask me something that I'm not going to have an answer to and it's going to prevent me from moving forward? And the answer, look, you're no different, right? You're no different than me. I'm no different than you. But I mean, look, most of us probably don't enjoy, you know, the hunt and the chase. Maybe some of us do. Um, and I used to really love the hunt and the chase, right? I used to love that part, but I don't like that part anymore. And I think it's probably because you evolve, right? Everybody does. Everybody gets better every single year at whatever they're doing, or you should be getting better. If you're not getting better, then that's a whole separate discussion, right? You should make more money every year, and you should get better in your whatever your field is every single year. But I'll tell you what, I mean, if you get stuck in this rut, if you get stuck in this trap, this fear trap, right? And I was stuck in it for well, at the beginning, in 2018 when I lost my clinic, my med spa, it was fear was for me at an all time high. And what I mean by that, like, I had left that business with absolutely nothing. Like literally had to start over. This was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Um, no, 3 years ago. Either way, it really wasn't that much long ago that it wasn't that long ago before, when I was, sitting upstairs in my office, acting like I'm working. And the reality is I couldn't get out of my own damn head. And so some days I would just sit there and just wait for the day to end, right? It's a really shit place to be. And yeah, I mean, look, we've all had crazy thoughts. We've all had thoughts about, well, I just don't want to keep on doing this. But the reality is you didn't act on it, nor did I. And I won't. Right? So I don't, I don't really have the balls to do all that. Plus, at the end of the day, guess what? Life is sweet. Like, look, I mean, life is not always life is not always beautiful, right? Life is not always a walk in the park. At least for my life, it hasn't been. In fact, I've caused myself more trouble, more pain, more issues than anybody that I know, right? But remember, I did that. I made choices to drink and drive. I made choices to do drugs. Now, this was 12 years ago, right? I haven't had any of that stuff in my body for almost 12 years, and well, no, over 12 years rather. And look, I mean, you talk about fear. Well, there's a lot of fear involved with stopping drinking, stopping drugging, stopping doing the things that I was doing. You might be asking yourself, well, why would that be so hard to stop? Well, unless you've ever been into an addiction, you won't understand. I mean, it's something almost like it's out of your control. And if you ever smoke cigarettes, you understand, right? I mean, I smoke cigars now, but it's a little bit different. Anyway, well, and here's another example. Think about it like this, right? Think about if you want to think, if you're trying to put yourself in my shoes with addiction, think about when you eat sugar, right? Or you eat potato chips. You don't, the bag even says you can't just eat one. That's some kind of psychological trick right there. They're trying to trick you into saying, I mean, you believe in you can't eat but one, or whatever the case is. Yep, I think you understand what I'm saying. On a totally different note, did you know that elevators that have mirrors inside of them, the reason elevators have mirrors inside of them is so you can look at yourself, so the elevator ride isn't so long. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was interesting. But anyway, so, fear, like I said before, fear is the biggest thing that most business owners, entrepreneurs, salespeople have to go through. And unfortunately, you have to go through what you have to go through, and sometimes it's a painful process, right? Sometimes it's awful. But here's the thing: if you think things are going to be awful, then they probably are going to be awful, because your mindset has a lot to do with this. And I don't know, if you all think that's woo woo or whatever, but I will tell you, and this is the God's honest truth. There's a couple of things. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories actually. One, I was getting ready to. I just finished up with Tony Robbins. It was early 2000. It was 2018, right after I had all this stuff happen. Now I hadn't gone through we were in the legal proceedings, so we hadn't actually gone through all that yet, but all that was hanging over my head, and I didn't really know what was going to happen. Just for those of you that don't know, my partner and I found out he was having an affair with one of my employees. And then I also found out that we were 350 grand in debt. Well, I didn't know all that, right? I had no earthly idea, because that was the only thing that I didn't handle with the books. So after I finished up with going to see Tony Robbins, which was something I'd wanted to do for a long time, I started a mastermind, right? I didn't have a clue what I was doing, right? I wanted to get in the coaching space. I wanted to start coaching people, but here's the issue, and listen up, this is very important. If you're thinking about coaching people and you're not sure what you want to coach people on, let me make it very clear for you. Coach people on what you know. Don't try to coach people on what you don't know. I tried that. I tried working with people on mindset. Well, guess what? Nobody's looking for a fucking mindset coach. I mean, maybe there are people, but by and large, not so much. So, anyway, so my point is this. It's a long ass drawn out story. Hopefully I still have you. So I was sitting on a like a ranch, a farm, this really high end farm right outside of Charlotte. My wife was taking pictures. I was sitting in the driveway, and the mastermind started the next day. And so the mastermind was going to be around Think and Grow Rich, pretty normal, right? And so I was listening to the first chapter again, because that was what the first meeting was on. Well, I was sitting there, and it's when Henry Ford was talking about the V8 and the trouble they had figuring out how to get that V8 in the Model T. And I pictured in my brain when he said that, well, what is a Model T? Do I even know what a Model T looks like? And I'm not even joking, dude. I could show you the picture. 30 seconds later, this garage door opened, and they pushed out a fully restored Model T. Now, you might be thinking, well, Corey, that's completely coincidental. Is it? I'm in a gated farm, right? I'm in a gated farm at a house that I don't even know the people. You can't tell me there's not some kind of mystical, I don't know the right word, metaphysical or quantum, whatever. But at the end of the day, like I sat there and visualized what this was going to look like, and then the guy pushed one out. Like you can't deny something like that happens. Um, there's a lot of things like that have happened in my life that I've just had to hold on tight and know I'm going to win, right? And that's hard to do when you've made some bad decisions. It's hard to do when you feel like you've let yourself down. It's hard to do when you've lost faith in yourself. You've lost confidence in yourself. It's a shit place to be. And so, you know, I don't know if you struggle with this, but if you do, you know, we work on this. This is the first step in my 9-step roadmap, is confidence to close. And it has nothing to do with closing, but it has everything to do with the confidence to be able to ask for the sale. It has everything to do with the confidence to be able to proudly present your product or service, right? And if you can't proudly present your product or service, you shouldn't be selling it. And that's just how I live. I mean, that's how I run my own stuff, right? I don't sell anything, right? I sell myself because I'm the product. The point is that like I refused when I was younger, like I refuse to sell something if I don't think it works. I refuse to sell something that doesn't align with me, right? Here's an example. I want to talk about this next week, a week from today, live at Podfest. Is like, when you're talking about getting a sponsorship for your podcast, right? Well, here's some typical things, right? And in fear and negotiation and sponsorship, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. So it wouldn't align with me to advertise Tampax tampons on my show. My listeners are like 80% men, right? So the point here is I don't have anything against Tampax tampons, and I don't know if they're a good brand or not because I've never used them, right? And I can't, in good faith, promote something if I don't use it. And you and I both know I don't use Tampax tampons, so I can't tell you how it works. And it would be weird if I tried to. So, when you're thinking about a sponsorship, thinking about bringing somebody onto your show and advertising their product or service, make sure it aligns with you, because if it doesn't, it's not going to align with your audience. Your audience is there for you. The audience wants to hear you, and they like to hear your opinions. And if you suggest something, they very well may go out and buy it. That's the whole point. You're an influencer to a degree, right? You can influence other people's decisions through your podcast. And I don't mean like that in a manipulative way. I mean that in a way that we're human beings, and human beings, we like, we see something we like, or we see somebody we like, and we want to be near them. We want to be like them to a degree, right? And so the point here is this, overcoming fear, especially when you're talking about asking for sponsorship, or you're talking about asking for more money at your 9 to 5, or you're asking for an employee to do an extra thing that they're not usually used to doing, you just got to ask, right? Because look, nobody's around the asking for the money part. Nobody's just going to pay you. Nobody's going to say, you know what, you look like a cool dude, Corey. I'm just going to go ahead and whip up my credit card. Don't even need to know the price. Like, that's an unreal situation. That's not even reality, because it just doesn't happen that way. Once in a blue moon, you might get a sale like that, but highly doubt it. Not to mention, anytime a sale goes that quickly, typically something goes sideways. When people make fast decisions, things go sideways. But anyway, I guess here the point is, yeah. So the point is, if you're struggling with fear, if this is something that you need help with, so here's some easy ways for you to overcome that. All right. You want to practice in role play. So practice with people that you know, like, and trust. Not necessarily a family member, but that will work. You just got to make sure they're being honest with you if you suck. because most of the time family members will lie, right? They'll tell us, yeah, you're doing great, or yeah, you're knocking it out of the park, and we're not, right? So you just got to be aware of that. That's all. Um, I hope this video wasn't too rambling. Who knows if it was? Feels like it was. Anyway, you guys have a good one.